Hi, I'm Dr. Patty Barch. I'm a traditional naturopath and owner of Naturally Unbridled Wellness, a holistic therapy center in Onalaska, Wisconsin. One of the things that I started specializing in over 10 years ago was naturally supporting women in their fertility goals. And this video is about some of the observations that I've been making over the past couple of years. So the information that is going to be presented here is relevant to the medical intervention that a lot of people have had involving their arms and how it may have impacted the fertility of women. So when the government agency approved the product, clearly skipping tons of steps. I have a background in biotechnology and drug development, and multiple, actually countless steps were skipped, but that's a topic of another video. But anyway, when they approve the product, then what happens is all of that data becomes public domain because the American public pays the government agency out of our tax dollars. So anything that goes through the government agency is technically the property of the citizens. So one of the thousands upon thousands of documents that were released was what's called a biodistribution study. So the biodistribution study is how they evaluate where in the body this product goes once it's injected. And they fully expected it to stay in and around the injection site, but that's not what happened. Well, that's what they told us. I don't know if that's what they actually expected, but that's what they told us would happen. But that's not what happened. The biodistribution study shows that within minutes, it has gone all over the body. The lipid nanoparticle that is used as the vehicle for the payload, so to speak, of this product, is designed to cross membranes. It is well known to cross the blood-brain barrier. In fact, there was research going on using that lipid nanoparticle to try to get chemotherapy across the blood-brain barrier, because normally the body protects the brain from those sorts of things, but this particular substance crosses that blood-brain barrier and any other barrier in the body. So what the biodistribution study showed is that a very high concentration of this substance ended up in the ovaries of the mice that they injected. And this is a concern because every tiny baby girl that is born has all of the eggs that she will ever have at that moment. So unlike men who make sperm every single day, women are born with a finite amount of eggs. And if anything damages those eggs, there could be a negative impact on her fertility. So that's a big concern. So thousands upon thousands of women noted and reported changes in their menstrual cycle after receiving this medical intervention. And these changes actually run the gamut. And I have to wonder if it has to do with A, where they were in their cycle at the time of receiving this intervention, and then B, which batch and which product did they get? Okay, so those are kind of two considerations, but some women had hemorrhagic cycles. So menopausal women were reporting having bleeding after not having bleeding for years. Women of reproductive age reported heavier bleeding, longer days of bleeding, more clots, completely stopping menstruation, and then something called a decidual cast. So this decidual casting is for real. I've had 3 clients in my practice who have passed a decidual cast. What a decidual cast is that the woman sheds her entire endometrial lining. So the inside layer of the uterus peels away in one giant piece and then falls out And they call it a decidual cast because deciduous trees drop their leaves, so the uterus drops its endometrial lining, and it's a cast because it's literally like if you were to take it and like lay it all out, it would be the shape of the uterus. It is the whole inside cast of the uterus that comes out in like one giant, what looks like a clot, if they don't know that that's what it is. So that is really common. There are international websites recording and educating about this phenomena. Locally, I do know of a family that has 2 young girls that received this product, and I'm talking girls under 10, and both of these daughters developed pubic hair after getting this medical intervention. So that's concerning for their future fertility. Another concern is that because such a high concentration of this product ended up in the ovaries, and this product is designed to elicit an immune response, that it is not unrealistic to hypothesize that the body could create antibodies against the ovaries. It would be an autoimmune disease against the ovaries. And this has been seen with the HPV intervention. It's affiliated with something called premature ovarian failure. And I've seen many cases of this in my office as well. Girls as young as 16 who have stopped cycling, healthy body weight, but their ovaries have failed. So like I said, I've been doing fertility work for over 10 years, and I have a very good success rate. And I started noticing that my fertility clients who received these injections have not been having the success rate that I normally see in my practice. In fact, I've only successfully had one fertility client who received these injections, who is currently pregnant, and she received the JJ version. Excuse me. So I haven't had anyone who is coming here for fertility who received the P version or the M version who has been able to successfully get pregnant. Additionally, there's concern above and beyond that because it has been noted and the government agency was warned by experts in the field that the particular protein that they chose for these products to make antibodies against, that protein is genetically similar to another protein in the body that is in high concentrations in the placenta. So the placenta's job is to sustain the life of the fetus. And then you have the opportunity for the body to be making antibodies against this placental protein because it's very similar in structure to the pointy protein that is the target of the intervention. So what is being seen is in the placenta, there are different lobes of the placenta, and there is calcification happening in these lobes, which is part of kind of an immune response to protect against inflammation. So you start to see calcification in the placenta, which means that the fetus is not receiving the optimal amount of oxygen and nutrition and even waste excretion because the placenta is becoming impaired. And I have been noticing that when I see birth announcements on my social media feed, that there's a lot of women who are giving birth ahead of schedule. So if the fetus is getting to the point where it cannot get what it needs from a placenta due to damage to the placenta, it could induce labor early, and then it could also cause fetal distress that could be detected at an appointment, and then labor could be induced or they could go in for a C-section. So there's definitely concern about placental health and therefore fetal health. And I have been noticing low birth weights when I see, I mean, you used to see a lot of like 8, 9, 10-pound babies. And now I see a lot of like 5 and 6-pound babies being posted like, welcome to the world, blah, 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 5 pounds, 6 ounces, 6 pounds, 1 ounce, like little babies, which isn't completely abnormal, but as far as trends go, I'm seeing more of that. The other thing that is really, probably of all the things I've just discussed, this is the most disturbing. And this is the incidence, the global incidence of stillborns and neonatal deaths is really orders of magnitude higher than it has been in the past. And I wouldn't be surprised if these placental antibodies and calcification is contributing to that. So I know in a local hospital here, a nurse that works in the local hospital told one of my clients that she works in labor and delivery, and they normally see about 5 neonatal deaths or stillborn babies in a year. And she reported that it's about 5 a month now. And that's actually consistent with some of the statistics coming out globally. It's a huge concern for sure. The other concern is that the pointy protein has been detected in breast milk. So mothers who have received this medical intervention and are producing this protein, it is being excreted through the breast milk, and it's an inflammatory protein, so we can be seeing digestive and other issues in newborns. And sadly, there's actually been incidents of newborns that have died after nursing from a recently, mother who received a recent intervention. So that is also a concern. The other concern I have is that if women are receiving this intervention while pregnant, and this lipid nanoparticle crosses all membranes, if it gets across the blood-brain barrier, there's no other membrane in the body that can keep it out, because that's the upper echelon of membrane protection. So it's also crossing the placenta, and then it has the high affinity for the ovaries. So we don't know, and we won't know for 15 to 20 years or so, if this is having an impact on the fertility of female offspring of women who receive that intervention during their pregnancy. And this has been documented with other products in the past. There was a product called DES that it didn't really cause any problems with the mother, but the female offspring of women who took that product all had massive fertility issues. Many of them needed to have hysterectomies. They were infertile, and there was a higher incidence of uterine cancer. So this is why clinical trials are supposed to take 10 freaking years. But anyway, it is concerning. We are doing what we can to help women, and I'm happy to say that we are having some success. So where I've seen the most success with women who seem to be impacted with this are the young women. I've had 3 now in my practice, young women, 16 to 22 or 14 to 22, teenager to like 22 years old, who stopped getting their period after they got this intervention. They didn't cycle anymore. And thankfully, I've been able to get them all cycling, so that's exciting. And I was able to help that one client achieve her fertility goal that received the JJ1. So that's good. We've been able to support women who had those crazy menstrual cycles. I mean, I do know of some women personally who got emergency intrauterine devices, IUDs, put in to stop bleeding. That was crazy. And I do know another practitioner was telling me about a couple of women in his practice who had to have emergency hysterectomies because they were hemorrhaging through their uterus. So, there's a lot to consider. And I just wanted to kind of bring this information to people so that you just kind of know what's going on and can make these observations for yourself. I always appreciate people who share information with me, screenshots and things like that I can use to help educate the masses about what's going on in the world. So thanks for watching the video. If you're watching this on youtube.com/naturallyunbridled, you can go ahead and like and subscribe and ring the bell. so that you can be notified every time I do a video like this. So peace out, peeps. Have a healthy day.